Welcome to r/Am I the Butthole, where OP's wife serves him poisoned spaghetti. Am I the butthole for refusing to eat my wife's spaghetti after I found out what she put in it? Last night, my wife made spaghetti, and it smelled amazing. She said she tried something new and wanted me to just eat it before asking questions. I had a few bites, and it tasted kind of off, but not terrible, just weirdly sweet and earthy. I asked what she changed, and she told me she blended up leftover spaghetti from 6 days ago and mixed it into the sauce to thicken it. I immediately stopped eating. I know it's technically the same ingredients, but the idea of blended old noodles mixed into fresh sauce made me feel sick. She got offended and said I already ate half a plate, so clearly it was fine, and I was just being dramatic now that I knew. I told her that's exactly the point. I did not know. If I had known beforehand, I wouldn't have eaten it. She said I was being wasteful and disrespectful and acting like she served me garbage. I ended up making a sandwich because I couldn't finish it, and she got really upset and barely talked to me the rest of the night. Now she told her family, and they think I embarrassed her. But my mom thinks it's gross and I shouldn't have been tricked into eating it. I feel bad for hurting her feelings, but also feel like I should get a say in what I'm eating. Am I the butthole? OP, I think your wife did literally feed you garbage. 6-day-old pasta, I don't know about you guys, but to me that is in the danger zone. I think that sweet, earthy taste you were tasting was probably mold. People are posting links to stories about people literally dying from eating 5-day-old pasta. On top of that, it's just kind of gross, man. Even if it isn't moldy or, swarming with bacteria, which it probably is, it's just, I'm with you, it's kind of icky, man. The comments are actually way worse than I thought they were going to be. I mean, they agree that this is gross, but I didn't understand how scary old pasta is. There's apparently a special type of bacteria that can grow in old pasta that is very dangerous, and the general consensus seems to be that eating pasta after like 3 or 4 days is rolling the dice. So, your wife didn't just serve you garbage, she served you poisonous garbage. This comment. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Wife's spaghetti. Am I the butthole for telling my boyfriend not to come over anymore if he doesn't move in with me? I'm a 19-year-old female and my boyfriend is 19. We've been together for almost 2 years. For context, I moved into my 1-bedroom apartment about 6 months ago. I live alone, pay all my bills alone, and buy my own groceries. My boyfriend comes over every single day. And I'm not just saying that. He's literally there every day. I get home from work, and by the time I'm out of the shower, he's at the apartment. I didn't really mind at first because I was excited he was seeing me every day. Because before that, he told me he didn't want to spend a lot of time with me, that it was overwhelming to him. So I was excited and happy that he wanted to be with me. My love language is quality time. Well, I've noticed an increase in my bills. Just last month, my utility bill increased by $70. I'm not totally sure if this is because of the weather or him, but he's been there even when I'm not there. He's taken showers, watched TV, and he'll leave the lights on. Not to mention he uses the restroom all the time, sometimes 3 times. So there's that. And then I'm running out of my groceries faster than I'd like. I buy groceries just enough for me every 2 weeks. I buy a 12-pack of Coke, and that should last me the entire month, as I don't drink a lot of soda. But what do you know, I'm running out in 2 weeks. An example of him drinking all my sodas would be when we're watching TV. He ordered us a pizza, and while we were eating, he offered to grab me a drink. And I just told him to grab me a water, and he grabbed himself a soda, which I didn't mind since, like I said, I don't drink them often. He drinks the first soda, then he gets up to grab a second, he comes back to the table and drinks the second. I was visibly annoyed, but I didn't say anything. He then gets up again and walked to the fridge to grab a third. I quickly interrupted him and said, "Nope, no. If you're very thirsty, you can have a water. You're drinking all the sodas I just bought." To which he responds, "What are you, my mom?" And I respond, "No, but I'm your girlfriend, and you didn't buy those. I did. When I want a soda, I want to be able to drink one." And he came to sit down. He was mad. I know this because he does this thing where he clenches his jaw and didn't speak to me for a while. After this, I had the realization that he really is just living here without sleeping here. He's eating and drinking all my food and using my utilities. So I thought carefully of what I wanted to say, and I got the right wording together. When he came over the next day, I brought up the conversation of, "Why don't you move in with me?" And he just said, "No, I don't want to." And I was like, "Huh? Why? You basically live here without sleeping here. You're here every day and using all my things." I know I shouldn't have snapped like that, but that just completely threw me off. His reasoning started with, "I want to finish school," which I would completely understand if he was in school, but he's not. He missed the deadline to sign up for classes, so he's not enrolled right now, which I reminded him of. His next reason was, "I don't want to live in an apartment, I want to live in a house." So I said, "We're 19. We aren't established and don't have money put aside for a house. You have to be realistic. We can eventually get a house, but an apartment is part of that step." And then he responded with, "I just don't want to move out. I like having no responsibilities." This was finally the real answer. I told him since he didn't want to move out and help me, then he can't come over every day, and we'll have to hang out at his house more often. It's been a week since this conversation, and he's still coming over every day, and I don't know what to do. I love his company, but I can't afford it. I still can't really wrap my head around his answer, and I'm trying to respect it. But part of me wonders, if it was someone else, would he want to live with them? Would he support them? Or does he just not see a future with me? I'm not sure what to do. Any advice is appreciated. OP adds some clarifying details. He also has no responsibilities. His mom pays for his car and gas and clothes. OP, you need to learn the word hobosexual. It is a homeless guy who crashes at your place and, does the deed with you because he's kind of your boyfriend, but he doesn't pay bills and he eats all your food and he, mooches your electricity. He's just a leech. Now, I don't want to be too harsh necessarily because he's 19. That is kind of the age to, not really have responsibilities and to become a homosexual. So maybe there's hope for him, but I'm not super optimistic. I can say for certain that OP is definitely more mature than her boyfriend. I'll tell you my trick that's worked for me and has helped me find true love with a wife that I've been with for like 13, 14 years now. I always think, okay, the past 6 months that I've been with this person, let me copy and paste that into the future indefinitely. So every future 6-month period is the exact same as the previous 6-month period. Would I be happy with this person? And if the answer is no, I break up with them. If the answer is yes, then I stay with them. So if this guy doesn't change, if this last 6-month period is just copied into infinity, would you want to live with this guy? Because I wouldn't. Then OP posted an update. We talked. I took his key like many of you suggested. I told him until he learns to call me and ask if he can come over, then he cannot have the key. I also added with that the key is only to be used for emergencies, and I don't feel like he should have it. He then agreed to this, and also went on to explain that it feels like we're in two different mindsets. Me having an apartment, steady income, and responsibilities. As in being an adult, and him living at home, no bills, etc. As in being a kid. He then started to put the fault on me, saying it was too expensive and I shouldn't have moved out, but I didn't have a choice to move out. It was forced upon me. We argued back and forth about that for a while. He suggested I budget my money, but I literally don't spend anything other than what I need. I have an interview for a second job tomorrow, so I can start being able to afford the things I want. That's besides the point. It was dumb and felt like deflection on his end. We fought back and forth some more, and then it eventually ended with me saying that he's a child who isn't wanting to grow up right now, and I don't want that around me forever. I don't know if we're broken up or what's really happening. I assume I'll know more tomorrow. OP, rejoice! You're single! You can find a guy who's actually on your level, who has a job and who pays bills and who treats you as an equal and not just another mommy who, he sleeps with. Am I the butthole for not going on family vacation unless I can share a bed with my fiance? My brother and I started planning a family vacation. The first one since 2019 that all the cousins can go to. We used to rent a large beach house every year, so we were looking at large Airbnbs that sleep everyone and splitting the costs. On the initial call, my mom said that she prefers that me and my fiance, I'm a 27-year-old woman and my fiance is a 28-year-old woman, not share a room. I told my mom that was not going to happen. Me and my fiance have lived together for over 2 years, own a house together, and are getting married in 6 months. We even went on a family cruise last year, and no one had any issues with us sharing a room. For a couple of weeks after that, we sent Airbnb options back and forth. No one brought up room arrangements again. Then today, my brother tells me that my mom had already booked a house. When I called her, she said my fiance and I can either sleep in separate beds or find another place to stay. I asked her why she didn't tell me earlier, and she said that her original preference was her way of communicating that. I told her that wasn't a rule, it was a preference, and I had set a boundary. She said that since she booked the house, she can treat it like her house and set the rules. I pointed out that we're paying our share, $1,200, so she doesn't get to control our sleeping arrangements. She said we can still pay, but we're not sharing a bed there. Now, the cheapest option is a nearby hotel for $1,500, which means no kitchen and driving back and forth every day. That's a completely different and more expensive vacation than what we agreed to. The only reason I'm even considering going is for my special needs brother, who's really excited about this trip. Otherwise, I'd just skip it. My fiancé is willing to sleep separately for his sake, but I'm struggling giving in, especially since my parents don't support our relationship and might not even come to our wedding. I feel stuck between paying more and giving in to my mom's control. I know that my dad, aunt, and grandma share the same beliefs as my mom, so I feel alone in this. OP, I think you should take the money that you were going to spend on this trip and go out with just you, your fiance, and your special needs brother. Because screw the rest of their family, they can suck eggs. They want you to pay and follow their rules? Huh? Another option, OP, is you could, pay your share, go to the vacation, and then just sleep in the same beds. What are they gonna do? Break down the door and grab one of you and drag you to the other bed? They can't stop you. You're adults. OP, this is the grand hack about being an adult, being over 18. You can do whatever you want to do. And if someone's like, well, actually, I would rather you do this other thing, you can just say, no, I'm not going to do that. And just do what you want to do. And then they're going to whine and complain. I don't like that you didn't do this. So what? Who cares? Just do what you want to do, man. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. This post actually frustrated me. Am I the butthole for honoring my deceased brother's wishes and not letting his estranged wife attend his funeral? My brother recently passed away due to kidney failure. He's been dealing with kidney problems most of his adult life. About 6 years ago, his wife of 5 years said that she wanted a divorce. She wasn't happy, and she thinks she deserves to be happy with someone exciting. My brother was a good earner and worked long hours. She was, and still is, a stay-at-home wife. After his most recent bout of kidney issues, while in the hospital, he made out his will and he specified that he does not want her at his funeral. He passed about a month ago, and at his request, she was not allowed at the funeral. She did try though, and she wasn't allowed in. She has since called me heartless and had a number of her family gang up on me, sending me messages. She was even angrier that he left her nothing and had transferred his savings to me for my daughter's education. We haven't stopped her from visiting his grave, not like we can anyway, but as per his wishes, she wasn't allowed at the service. So am I the butthole? Okay, so everyone's supposed to respect her choice to abandon her dying husband, but suddenly it's a big deal that you're respecting your dying brother's wish to not let her attend the funeral? Doesn't work that way. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. You did the right thing here. That was r/Am I the Butthole. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.